Thanks, mate.
Fire away, mate.
Gilly, thanks for coming, mate. How strong is, I suppose, the desire at Redan to really at least make a grand final this year? I mean, you've been close the last couple. Can you sort of compare this year to the last couple in terms of desire?
Look, at the minute, all the desire is worried about trying to beat North Ballarat on Saturday. We're not looking any further than that at this stage. But look, the group are pretty, I would say, hungry, but no more hungry than anyone else. Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to make a grand final. But look, they are right from the start of the year, since round one, even during pre-season, they've worked pretty hard to try and improve their game from the previous couple of years.
Talk to us about the previous meetings with North City this year. Have you felt you've gone, and are you taking any of those things you've learned into?
Round one, round two was Anzac Day, I think at Port Rain, up at Northern Oval. Real low scoring. They had a lot of players out. We had a few out. We won. Look, probably don't take heaps out of that game. A month, 6 weeks ago, we played here at City Oval. It didn't look like it does now. It was a heavy game, really tight contest. And look, we got up in the last quarter, and we know that if we can produce our best football and limit North's ability to play their best football, that we can win. That's what we can take away from it so far this year.
Can I just ask you about one thing we talked about, just about your ruck options for this game? Do you know which way you're going to head with selection for?
To be honest, no, not really.
You got a few options, haven't you?
Yeah, we do. We've got a couple of options. Probably this year, I know Lake Wendouree have two really strong ruckmen. East Point have a great ruckman. Sunbury do. North City, Redan and Darley probably not as strong as they previously have been in that area. And we've had some different options throughout the year in that area. Matt Cullinan, I think, has pretty much played every game bar last week when he was injured with an ankle. He trained last night, got through probably 90% of training, and there's a fair chance he'll come back into play as the number one ruckman.
I was going to ask you, is that a possibility that he may miss, getting injured so close to it and having a week off?
Yeah, look, it's not ideal, absolutely, but if he can play if his injuries improved well enough for him to play, he will play. Yeah.
And you think, what did you say, during the week he got through training?
Yeah, he trained last night for, we had an hour and 20-minute session last night, and he did it all bar the last 5 minutes when he ducked in to see the trainer, and there's nothing in that boy when I feel it.
So when's D-Day for him? Are we giving till sort of Friday?
Yeah, if he gets through training tomorrow night, maybe he'll be picked to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Probably should rest him, I reckon. Just to go off the kid early on.
The loss of last weekend, does that have any impact on the mentality of the side heading to the finals?
We're very disappointed Saturday after the game, as I'm sure Robbie's boys were that they lost as well. But we had a pretty good home and away season. Lost 2 games. Yes, one was the last game of the year. If we sat around and with our head between our legs for too long, all of a sudden this week would be over before we'd even thought about the game. So we moved on pretty quickly. Yes, they were disappointed. We took some things out of the game that we learnt, and we'll try to resurrect that this weekend.
Mm-hmm. And you made reference to the 2 wins, 25 points in round 2 and 27 points in round 14. But back in round 2, it was, I know you said already, it was really quite inclement conditions and pretty tough football.
Yep.
You had 26 scoring shots still there, and so quite potentially it could have been a lot greater margin.
Could have, but didn't happen.
Yeah, so, that's right.
Look, I even on that night, it's not as if we were running into open goal and missing from 15 metres out. There's probably a couple of set shots that we could have kicked and kicked another 3 goals maybe. But realistically, there's some that were touched on the line, rush through points, that type of thing. I just think it's going to be a really good weekend of finals football, not just our game, but right across the board. And we should see a high standard of footy and hopefully some goals kicked.
And I suppose particularly with the Eastern Oval being a pretty good nick, hopefully a firm track, is that going to give you any sort of edge over North City, do you think?
I don't know, I haven't really thought about it too much. I just, our oval's been great, looks great now, but we haven't really trained on it for the last 5 weeks. We've been indoors and doing different things on Tuesday nights, a little bit on a Thursday night. The last couple of games though that we've played, they've all been on fast tracks. We were lucky enough that Lake Wendouree were happy to switch a game and we could play over there instead of on the City Oval. We then played at Melton and it was firm, and same at Darley as well. So we're probably used to those conditions, which will hopefully help us come Saturday.
And feeling fresh and feeling like the boys are peaking at the right time?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, unfortunately we got one injury on Saturday out of the game with Dean Matthews. He won't play this week. You know, he's pretty lucky really to get away with the injury he did. There was, you know, a bit of a thought and a fear that he may have done his knee, ACL, on Saturday night, but you know, he got a scan Monday and it's come back okay. He definitely won't play this week, but you know, other than that, the group are up and about and ready to go.
Could he play a part in the final series, or is it still serious enough?
Oh, look, it's pretty serious, yeah.
Sort of medial type of thing?
No, he did hurt his ACL, but
it
wasn't a full tear. So
I won't see him have a recap, or?
No, he doesn't need an operation, which is fantastic for him, and it doesn't, you know, mean he'll be right to go round 1 next year.
Yeah.
But he, you know, whether he gets back to play footy in the next 3 to 4 weeks, you know, that might be a bit of a push.
Probably unlikely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gilly.
Sorry. I suppose the obvious question is, why can you beat Redan this time around after a couple of cracks out this year and you haven't been able to?
Yeah, look, we've you know, Gilly said it all before. It's been tough the 2 times we have played, and we know we're going to be our very, very best to challenge them. You know, they've been the best team at home and away clearly all year. You know, I think they're 20 goals in front of us, you know, kicking, and you know, it's thereabouts defensively as well. But we're going to be our very, very best and everything go our way. Put enough pressure on them early. When they both times we've played against them previously, they've kicked away in the first quarter, first half, and we played a bit of catch-up footy. And it's tough against a quality opposition to do that for the next 2 quarters and hold them. I think we may have hit the front in time on the 3rd quarter at the City Oval here. Willis kicks a goal maybe on just after that in the siren and puts them back in front, nose in front of the last quarter, and they blew us away 27, 25 points in the quarter. So they're going to be tough to beat. We have you know, we take a stat about quarters won for the year. You know, we've won 49 out of 64. They've won 48, but against them we've won 1 out of 8 quarters. You know, so we've got a fair bit to make up.
Yeah. Do you head in? You don't head in the best form. You got a few suspensions the other week. You'll get a couple back for this game, won't you? Just run us through those. Two or three boys missed.
2 boys missed last week with suspension. Aidan George and Daniel Kilpatrick. They'll both come back in.
Yep.
And there's a couple of blokes knocking on the door as well. And it's a bit of a horse's course with Redan. We're going to make sure we pick our right team on this particular weekend, this game against Redan, and we're the same mindset. There's only one game of play, and it's this week, and the boys know that's horses for courses with selection. The boys got a bit of a shake-up last week. I think they took the foot off the pedal, and Lake Wendouree, to their credit, were fantastic. We realised, halfway the 3rd quarter, we're in a bit of strife here. Blokes weren't playing well, and they were all over us. Similar, they kicked 17 or something like that for the day, so we're in a bit of strife. But they average 102 points a game. We keep them to 60. You know what I mean? So we work really hard defensively to try and hopefully restrict their scoring ability when they're on top of us completely, and restrict them and try and keep ourselves in about the game, which we did. And we actually hit the front again in the last quarter, which is lucky, and we could have got the win. It would have been great, but I reckon not that you ever want to lose. We don't want to lose, but might have woken a couple of people up and realise back where we are, and every second of every game counts.
And just on Lake Wendouree, can they threaten for the title?
100%. They play like they did on the weekend. They can for sure.
Just how tough is it to have the boys sufficiently motivated to retain that hunger after premiership success? Is that a pro for you, or is that a challenge?
It's spoken about. Second night of training pre-season in November. It's all great, but it's a new challenge. There's a new bunch of boys, and the coaching staff. We have to get new people into the team to keep bringing on the young youthful blokes, and we do that. We played upwards of 35 again, young kids this year, to get more taste again. So it's strong, but it's a challenge. But we just spoken about them. We move on to a different year, and. Maybe some of the older blokes will be worried about keeping their position now, and they keep getting a slap across the head to keep up and about. But it's a different year again. We move on, different bunch of blokes against different opposition.
So you've already alerted us to the boys coming back from suspension.
Yep.
In all, realistically, what are you looking at in terms of 4 to 5 changes? With the injury concerns, that sort of thing? No,
it's 2 to 3 changes. There might be one other, just depending on selection. It comes down, as I said, just horses for courses, things that didn't work really well against him. Watched the division against them in City Oval early in the year. What worked well, what didn't work, it's matchups as well, so it might be different matchups this week than we had the week before against Lake Wendouree, so we'll change those things about. That comes down to selection. quick meeting last night, and we'll go through it Thursday night before training as well with the coaching staff.
All right, thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Wood.
Thanks a lot.